Today we're looking at Bloom's taxonomy and how teachers can actually help students to excel. Hi, I'm Felisa, founder and managing director of Western STEM Academy. We're a full-time online school that helps students to do well. So we also do teacher trainings, and this is going to be one of our teacher training sessions that you can actually use in terms of what Bloom's taxonomy is all about and how you can actually help your students to excel, moving your student from just memorizing to mastering and thinking. This is Western STEM Academy Excellence. Remember to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and leave us a comment in the comment section. Now, have you ever heard of Bloom's taxonomy? Before we go into Bloom's taxonomy, I want to ask you why some students struggle. Like, why do some students struggle and some don't? Now, what most students are taught, they're taught by memorizing facts, repeating information, pass the test, then they forget. What they actually need, they need to think critically. They need to apply knowledge, create, and innovate. That's exactly where Bloom's taxonomy comes in. Now, what is Bloom's taxonomy? I asked earlier if you've ever heard of it. It's basically a research-backed framework that organizes learning objectives into six progressive levels of thinking, from basic recall to complex creation. It helps teachers to structure lessons with intention, ask better, deeper questions, as well as develop higher level of thinking. The goal is to move students from basic knowledge to advanced independent thinking. There is right? Now, the six levels of thinking. Each level builds on one before, guiding students towards mastery. Level one, remember, you recall facts. You try to basically remember whatever you have learned. No, less basically level two, you understand where you are explaining the ideas. Level three is all about applying where you're using the knowledge. Level four, you're analyzing where you're breaking things down. Level five, you're evaluating by making judgments. And level six, you're creating something new. You're producing something new. Now, level one, basic remembering something. What the students are required to do at this level one, where you don't want your students to stay at this level, they're expected to recall and recognize basic facts, terms, and information from memory. Define key terms, list steps or facts, identify names, dates, concepts. How teachers use these strategies at this level, quizzes, whether they're short, frequent checks for retention, they're flashcards where they're active recall practice, or recall games where it's usually engaging and low stakes review. So you're basically reviewing the content as it is. So this is the foundation level. It's essential, but it's not enough on its own. You don't want to stay at this level. Level two, you're going up a notch, understanding. At level two, students interpret and explain ideas in their own words. You're asking them to give you the information in their own words, showing that they truly grasp the material, not just recognize it. So you might ask them to summarize a concept, explain the cause and effect, or describe a process. Here are some teacher strategies that can be used at this level. Asking why. Push the students beyond surface answers. So keep going deep. Why? 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 Discussions. Verbal explanation builds clarity. Teach. So teach backs, right? So you ask your student to explain to each other what they have learned. So peer-to-peer teaching. No, level three. This is another level. You're going up a notch. You are applying. At level three, students use the learned knowledge to solve new real world problems, bridging the theory and the practice. So you ask them to solve a real world problem, right? You also ask them to demonstrate a skill or use the formula in context. Now, what teachers do, they are connecting the lessons to real life scenarios, incorporating hands on activities, and designing STEM experiments that require application. Application is where the knowledge itself becomes a skill. Level four, analyzing. Students break information into parts, identify patterns, and examine relationships between these ideas. They're comparing and contrasting concepts. They're examining underlying patterns and they're distinguishing cause from the effect. Teacher strategies assign case studies for deeper investigation. Practicing data interpretation activities ask what's different what's similar, and why. Now, evaluating. This is level 5. We're going up. What students do, they are making informed judgments, defending positions, and assessing the quality or validity of ideas using some sort of evidence. So you ask them to critique an argument or a solution, defend a point of view. That's where the debates are going to come in. Argue with supporting evidence. So, what teachers can do is to have debates. Students defend opposing viewpoints. We also have open ended questions. I love to have debates in the classes as well as open ended questions because you're bringing or bridging their evaluation skills. So, open ended questions, it's not a yes or no. There's no single right answer required. It really requires you to think deeper. So those why questions, it's not a yes or no thing or anything that you can simply just research, but it requires you to think deeply. Peer reviews. Students critique each other's work constructively. Now we're going up more, level 6, which is exciting, which is what I love. I love level 6. I love creation. What students do? Students combine the knowledge and skills to produce something entirely new. This is the highest form of learning. You're designing a solution or a product, and this is where we do a lot of this at Western STEM Academy. You're building a model or a prototype. You're inventing, composing, or developing something. How teachers do this? Projects that solve real world problems, presentations that demonstrate original thinking, as well as innovation challenges and design competitions. This is where true learning happens and where students discover what they're capable of because they're making things, they're creating something entirely new. Now, Bloom's taxonomy is what this is all about. Why does it even matter? Without it, we simply memorize and forget. Students retain information short term only. There's only passive learning, no real engagement or ownership. Surface understanding. You cannot transfer the knowledge to new situations. So, with it, you have a deeper understanding. Students truly grasp what they learn. Critical thinking is also evident. Students question, analyze, and reason, and they become independent learners. Students can take ownership of their education. Here are some simple classroom strategies that can be used. You don't need to overhaul your lessons. Small intentional shifts move the students up the ladder every day. Start with recall, but don't stay there. Use recall as a launch pad, not the destination. So you ask them the definitions of things, define this concept, tell me what you learned, that's the lower level, defining the concepts. You don't want to stay there. Ask higher order questions daily. Why does this matter? Beats, what is this? Use real world examples, anchor the abstract content in familiar context. And that's one thing that we do at Western STEM Academy, and I love when our teachers do this. Encourage discussion and debate. We want to see more debates happening in the classroom. If you look on our Western STEM Academy channel, you see some debates that happen in the classroom where students talk through ideas and build understanding. Assign creative projects. This one, we're very big on this one. Give the students a chance to produce, not just absorb. So you're teaching nouns. Don't just expect them to know what a noun is by recalling, but let them produce something. Let them create a book of nouns. Let them create their own noun chart, things like that. Let them produce, let them create. That's what makes a learning exciting. How to structure a lesson. Example, photosynthesis. Photosynthesis, photosynthesis. I'm not listening. One topic, 6 levels, full mastery. Remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate. By walking through all 6 levels, students don't just show or know what photosynthesis is, they understand it, they can use it, and can build on it creatively. Right? So that's what, of course, what teachers should avoid. Staying at memorization. If every lesson ends at recall, students never develop the thinking skills they need for real world challenges. Yes or no questions only. Close questions require no reasoning. Swap them out for how, why, and what would happen if. doing the thinking for them. Don't think for your students. When teachers over explain, students do not practice thinking independently, which is the whole goal. Don't just teach the content, teach them how to think critically and deeply. Great teachers do this. They don't just give the answers. They ask the questions that make the students find their own. They build thinkers, students who reason, question, and problem solve independently. They don't just teach lessons, they craft learning experiences that last beyond the classroom. They build futures. Every higher order question is an investment in a child's potential. Let's raise high achieving students. At Western STEM Academy, Bloom's taxonomy isn't just a framework, it's how we teach every single day. I'm always emphasizing that students need to be creating, doing critical thinking, problem solving, and some innovative ideas. So students learn to question, reason, and solve problems. Real world challenges are tackled with structured thinking strategies and innovation. Students are always creating, designing, and building solutions from the ground up. If you're a parent watching this, thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe. We are now accepting students at Western STEM Academy, so visit our website, westernstemacademy.com, or give us a call on WhatsApp 571-484-9479, and it's on the screen. I think I need to check the number, but this is our website. Visit our website, and of course, our website is Western STEM underscore or Instagram Western STEM underscore Academy. Now, if your students are forgetting what you teach, it's not because they're not smart, it's because they're not being taught at the right level. Let's fix it using Bloom's taxonomy, Western STEM Academy teacher training series. All right, so this is the result. Students, we want to have students who think critically, create, and lead inside and outside the classroom. Every student deserves a teacher who moves beyond memorization towards mastery, creativity, and confidence. Remember and understand builds the foundation every learner needs, but we need to apply and analyze, evaluate, and create, because applying and analyzing that bridges knowledge to real world practice, and evaluate and create that also develop the thinkers and innovators of tomorrow. This is our website, westernstemacademy.com. I want to make sure you have the correct number on there for Western STEM Academy. For some reason, it looks a little funny to me. All right, let me tell you. Okay. All right, I'm gonna put it in the description. That's probably a better idea. All right. So, yes, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe and reach out to us. We're happy to serve you.